Prepare yourselves for a rollercoaster ride filled with loyalty tested by lavish lies, unexpected alliances, and the kind of drama that only a city built on dreams and dice can deliver. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the glamour and intrigue that only Salon scandals can bring. Remember, in this city, stories may begin at the nail station, but they echo far beyond. Let's polish up those nails and uncover the profits. Or should I say, the truths, hidden beneath the surface. In Las Vegas, money talks louder than the slot machines. And Jared had a voice that could drown out the Strip. He was 39 when I first met him, a walking bank vault with a garage full of high-end cars. One for each day of the week. Monday was the sleek black Lamborghini, Tuesday the fire-red Ferrari, Wednesday the silver Bentley, and so on. He'd roll up to my little salon once a week, always in a different ride, his hands already outstretched for a manicure. His nails were impeccable, short, square, buffed to a shine like the chrome on his Maserati. Gotta keep up appearances, he'd say with a wink, settling into my chair like it was a throne. Jared was rich, stupid rich. The kind of rich where you don't blink at dropping 5 figures on a whim. He'd made his fortune in something vague, real estate deals, he claimed. Though I never pressed for details. In Vegas, you learn not to ask too many questions. He was married to Ellie, a woman 15 years his senior, who he'd met years back when she was waiting tables at a swanky casino restaurant. She was 54 now, still stunning by his account, with a timeless beauty that turned heads. Even among the glitter-dusted showgirls, he'd been smitten from the jump. Proposed within months, married her in a chapel off the Strip, and set her up in a life of luxury. Designer bags, private chefs, a penthouse overlooking the Vegas Strip. Ellie wanted for nothing, and Jared made sure of it. What Ellie didn't know, or maybe chose not to know, was that Jared's generosity didn't stop with her. He had a harem of beautiful women on speed dial, and I was their unofficial pamper palace. Once or twice a week, a new face would breeze into my salon. Long legs, perfect hair, dripping in Gucci or Chanel. Jared sent me, they'd say, sliding into my chair with a smile. I never took cash from them. Instead, I'd tally up the services, manicures, pedicures, the works. And Jared would send a runner later, some nervous kid in a tracksuit, with an envelope of crisp hundreds. I never met Ellie, not once, but I knew her stand-ins intimately. Their nails were my canvas, and their secrets were my soundtrack. Then there was Layla. She stood out from the pack, a 24-year-old Italian stunner. With olive skin, dark eyes that could melt steel, and a laugh that filled the room. She started coming in weekly, not just for a quick fix but for the full treatment. Gel polish, cuticle care, a little hand massage to top it off. Jared paid for it all, of course. Layla wasn't like the others, flighty one-offs who'd vanish after a fling. She stuck around, and over time, she started talking. He's different with me, she'd say, watching me paint her nails a deep plum. He's investing in me. He put $150,000 into my boutique idea. Says I've got a head for business. I'd nod, filing away her edges, thinking maybe she was right. Jared didn't drop that kind of cash on just anyone. Maybe Layla was the one he'd eventually trade Ellie in for. Like swapping out last year's Porsche for a shinier model. I got a front row seat to Jared's world every Tuesday, his standing appointment. He'd sit there, phone buzzing non-stop, regaling me with stories of his latest deals. Or the custom mods on his McLaren. His hands were soft for a guy who claimed to hustle. But his confidence was calloused, unshakable. That is, until the day Layla called during his manicure. It was a Tuesday in June, the air thick with heat even inside my air-conditioned shop. I was buffing his nails when his phone lit up, Layla's name flashing on the screen. He answered, putting it on speaker without a thought, his voice all charm. "Hey, gorgeous, what's up?" "Just saying hi," Layla purred, her accent curling around the words. "What are you doing this afternoon?" I kept my head down, focusing on his cuticles, but my ears perked up. "It's Ellie's 54th today," Jared said, casual as if he were ordering a coffee. "Got her and her girlfriends a brunch at that new spot by Chef Rossi. The works, champagne, the whole deal." Layla's tone shifted, a little too sharp. "Oh, so you're spending the day with your old lady?" The air in the room changed like someone flipped a switch. Jared's hand tensed under mine, and his jaw clenched so hard I thought he'd crack a tooth. "Don't you ever call my wife an old lady," he roared, loud enough to rattle my bottles of polish. "I'd put her body up against your 20-something ass any day, and Ellie'd blow you out of the water." I froze, nail file mid-air, as Layla's voice scrambled through the speaker, all apologies and stammers. "Jared, I didn't mean, baby, I'm sorry," he didn't let her finish. He slammed the hang-up button with a growl, tossed the phone onto the counter, and leaned back in the chair like nothing happened. I kept working, silent, letting the tension settle, but curiosity gnawed at me. Jared had just defended Ellie like she was his queen. Yet here he was, bankrolling a small army of side chicks. After a few minutes, I couldn't hold it in. "Jared," I said, glancing up from his pinky nail, "can I ask you something?" He raised an eyebrow, still simmering. "Shoot." "Do you love your wife?" I asked, my voice steady despite the butterflies in my gut. He didn't hesitate. "Of course I do. I come home to her every night." I nodded, but my brain wouldn't let it go. "Then why isn't she enough for you? Why all the others?" He stared at me, his hazel eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made my spine tingle. Then he leaned forward, elbows on the table, and asked, "What's your favorite food?" I blinked, thrown off. Chinese, I guess. Love a good lo mein." "All right," he said, a slow grin spreading across his face. "Would you eat Chinese food every meal, every day, for the rest of your life? Nothing else, just lo mein, morning, noon, and night?" I laughed despite myself. "No way, I'd go nuts." "Exactly." He leaned back, satisfied. "I like Chinese food. I like Italian, American, German, hell, throw in some sushi too. Variety's the spice of life. That's all it is." He shrugged, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I didn't know what to say. His logic was twisted, but it made a weird kind of sense, at least to him. I just nodded, finished his manicure, and watched him peel out in his Wednesday Bentley. That conversation stuck with me, though. Jared was a puzzle, loyal to Ellie in his own warped way. And me, he was loyal to me too, in the only relationship he never cheated on, his manicurist. Every Tuesday, without fail, he was in my chair, flashing that grin and those perfect nails. Years rolled by like dice on a craps table. Layla kept coming in, though her boutique never took off. Jared's $150,000 apparently went more to handbags than business plans. The other women cycled through, a parade of highlights and heels, but Jared stayed constant. Until he didn't. One Tuesday, he didn't show. Then the next. His phone went straight to voicemail, and the runners stopped coming. I figured he'd found another salon, but Vegas gossip travels faster than a jackpot rumor. Word hit me a few months later. Jared was in prison. Money laundering, they said. He'd been skimming millions from some big shot investor, got sloppy, and the feds swooped in. His cars, his penthouse, his whole empire, gone. Ellie divorced him while he was inside. Took half of what was left, and vanished. Layla, she sold her story to a tabloid for a quick buck. And moved to LA, chasing fame that never came. I never heard from Jared again. Last I knew, he'd done 3 years and got out. But Sin City's a big place, he could be anywhere. Maybe he's driving a beat-up Chevy now, nails chipped. Dreaming of the days he had a car for every sunrise. Or maybe he's back at it, hustling under a new name. I'll never know. What I do know is this. Jared taught me something about loyalty and lies. About how people can love one thing and still crave everything else. In Vegas, nothing's ever simple. Not love, not money, not even a manicure. I still see his hands sometimes, ghosting across my table. A reminder of the wildest client I ever had. And every time I buff a nail to a shine, I think of him, out there somewhere. Chasing variety in a world that finally caught up.